Well, we're suing the state of New Jersey right now for mandating public school teachers to lie to parents and cover things up against their conscience and convictions. Public school teachers that say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to promote confusion, much less confusion that increases the suicide rate by more than 400%. So you're not doing these kids a favor. You're increasing death to a child when you do this.
Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast, presented to you by SAC Life TV.
Hi, this is Topo Padilla, and I want to thank my family at Greg Padilla Bail Bonds for sponsoring the Powerhouse Podcast. We are always involved in the community, so if you ever find yourself in need of calling a bail bonds, you can call us at 446-BOND or find us at PadillaBailBonds.com. SAC Life TV and the Powerhouse Podcast want to thank Mosley Collins for his unwavering support of our podcast that keeps people informed. If you ever need legal help, call Mosley Collins Law at 444-4444. That's all fours for legal help. Hello, I'm Topo Padilla, the host of the Powerhouse Podcast, where we talk about an array of subjects about our state and our country. So today, this is part 2 of our interview with Brad Dacus. Brad is the founder and the president of the Pacific Justice Institute, an organization that provides free legal services for religious freedom, parental rights, and the sanctity of life. They do a lot of work. And if you didn't see the first episode, I really encourage you to go back and watch episode 1. For over 25 years, Brad has led a network of attorneys. They have offices all throughout this country, 5 of them right here in California. I said they should probably have 15, but 5 of them here in California. He speaks on many national media outlets, radio. He has his own radio show, and much of this is provided for free because there's people that own radio stations, businesses, buildings, that believe in the fight that they are doing at the Pacific Justice Institute. So, Brad, thank you for coming back. Just can't say enough about our last interview and what we talked about. So let's tell the viewers and listeners, in case they didn't hear it, what the Pacific Justice Institute does.
Yeah, well, to keep it sort of short and brief, we defend religious freedom, parents' rights against the government, sanctity of human life. We're very broad in all 3 of those areas. And we've been doing it since 1997 when I founded the organization, the nonprofit 501c3 organization. And we have 37 offices coast to coast, 5 of which are in California, as you said. All of them have donated office space, so we don't pay for rent. My radio show, The Dacus Report's on over 1,000 radio stations across the country, radio outlets or stations. We don't pay for any airtime. It's a real miracle. And then we have a TV show called Brad Dacus Live that people can watch. It's streaming through hischannel.com, or Faith and Law, which is on 40-plus network distributions across the country, so and outside the country. So those are some of what we do on the media side. And we right now have over 130 cases in active litigation right now. Not 1, not 13, 130 cases plus. And we're taking on new cases all the time. And these cases are all over the United States. And our goal, one thing that makes us unique, is that 2 things. 1, our goal is not just to cherry pick a few high-profile cases. There's other organizations out there doing good work, but they cherry pick. They say, well, this is a good one. This will be like a good high-profile case. Our goal is to make sure that no one is left on the side of the road. We have a true ministry heart, that people get the help that they need without charge. Wow. And to do that, we have the largest footprint of its kind with offices coast to coast all over the country. So we don't just have like one office in Phoenix or just one office in Dallas. We are all over the country handling more cases, I believe, than any other organization of our kind, bar none, having a real impact on not just a national level, but also on a local level, so that parents and churches and others are never left behind when their rights are being stepped on.
How do people find the radio show? 1,000 stations, that's amazing. How do they find it to where they can get more of you and hear more from you on a weekly and daily basis?
Well, they could go to our website, which is the best place, pji.org. Now, they're trying to update the website for more stations, and they keep trying to update. And I'm not sure where they are, but pji.org. And they can also sign up to get our free e-newsletter, our free updates, which is very helpful. We have a lot of cases across the country, and they're not going to know about them, generally speaking, and they can't pray for us specifically unless they're getting these updates.
So, our last episode, we ended on talking about the state of California, and specifically Gavin Newsom, and what he was doing to a child. And you talked about it, and it really fired me up there at the end, and I got a little off track. But
What should?
I have to ask, why do you think a man like him would think that this is okay to do to children? Who is he placating to? But I'll start off with, why do you think he's doing this?
I think part of it goes back to Romans chapter 1, where it says, to paraphrase, for just as they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them over to a depraved or delusional mind to do that which is not proper. And I think when we decide to turn away from God and turn away from the laws of nature's God, an absolute reference point, our mind will take us wherever we want, or in places in ways that we never would have dreamed of. That's why we see things that we look at and objectively, we say, this is crazy, this is insane, this is not even logical. And I think that goes back to a lot of that, the rebellion and separation from the moral norms, which are founded upon the laws of nature and nature's God, which is founded upon a reference to something above man, our creator. So that's in a broad overview. But when I was in law school, back at the University of Texas School of Law, it was a great law school, great education. I would have conversations with liberal students, and we would have intelligent conversations. And we could go back and forth on utilitarian arguments, jurisprudent arguments, moral arguments, background. Very interesting. And it made sense. We could have intelligent conversations. Today, the radical left doesn't even afford us the opportunity to have an intelligent conversation. And in fact, their general response is, if you want to have engaged in intelligent conversations, which I try to do all the time, their general response is to call you a name and shut off conversations. To silence, vilify, and destroy, which, by the way, I am quoting an organization who said that, which is the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is now in the news for good reason. So I think that as we move forward, we need to understand that the opposition, the radical left, are not driven by logic and reason. They're driven by something that is skewed, illogical. Those who believe in a spiritual dimension, I think demonic, and very dangerous to the stability of our society. They want to bring chaos. When you take away any reference of truth, and you say there is no truth, it's whatever you want to believe, then you open society, includes media, Hollywood, public education, public schools, communities, to chaos and lack of enforcement of a law in any kind of meaningful way, which is, once again, chaos. That is exactly what the left has been pushing and pushing. And I think the average American objects to it. And I think they manifested that during the last election. And hopefully they'll remember how they voted last time in this coming midterm election.
History repeats itself. Somebody I despise mentioning, but Saul Alinsky. I mean, it's all playing out in what they're doing. I mean, you look at when, God bless our just dearly beloved Charlie Kirk. I mean, just out talking about good things, not afraid to engage in a conversation with anybody. And they look at him like he is the evil. I mean, that, whether you believe in what he was saying or not, the platform in which he operated was a blessing.
Yeah. It was really interesting. I knew Charlie. I wasn't really close to him, but he knew me. I knew him in different forms we participated in. When I first heard he was shot and assassinated, it broke my heart. And I think moving forward, after I first heard, I also though realized that he will be, the other side just made a huge mistake. The opposite would be a huge mistake, because what they did is they put on fire the hearts of the many, many young people across America who said, I'm going to do what Charlie Kirk now can't. And it was very empowering. I think that is going to remain. We also saw it well before that, for the last year plus, actual revival in our country. And I'm into stats. I'm into numbers. So I'm not into feelings. Like, give me the stats. So we see that specifically Gen Zs have higher church attendance per capita. These are 18 to 24-year-olds than the millennials, who have a higher church attendance than the Gen Xers, who have a higher church attendance than baby boomers. And I'm the tail end of the baby boomers. So it's the opposite of what it's been for decades, which is the older people go to church more. They're getting closer to the grave. That's my theory anyway. Like, gee, I should think about this. And then usually the younger people didn't go to church hardly at all once they got out of the home. It's the opposite. And I think it's because we see revival taking place. Bible sales are up 36%. And also specifically those going to church and those who are wanting to have a faith, it's specifically not the females, it's the young males. So young females have 30% think religion is important. It's what it is now. It's the same stat it was about 10 years ago. Young males, they say religion is important. 42% say that. 10 years ago, it was 28%. So that is where we see the major movement, which has a big impact in the long term in terms of families and culture and development. So we at Pacific Justice Institute, we see something happening on a spiritual dimension, but we also see on the legal protection side is all the more important for people to be able to carry out, live their faith, because there are those in our society that want to silence and destroy them, like the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah, well, on to them. They're under some hot water, obviously, right now. Things are getting exposed, and I people say, well, Trump's getting revenge. No. They did that to people like you, and
Right.
and people. We believe in this. So let's say 50% of our country is over here and 50% is over there. I don't know about you, but if somebody has a shirt on of a politician or somebody I don't believe in, I don't go throw anything out. I don't say anything to them. Well, that's their right. Look what people did with Teslas when Elon Musk came out and did it. Oh my gosh, that is disgusting. We just want to do what we do in our lives.
Yeah.
And leave us alone. But people like you have to fight for them to leave us alone.
Yeah, the Southern Poverty Law Center is the most dangerous private organization in the United States. Planned Parenthood, very evil. They do hideous, evil things. Right up next to them is the Southern Poverty Law Center, which their organization, their purpose is actually to promote hate. They say it's to get rid of hate groups. No, it's to promote hate, encourage hate. It's their operations, and they've been, when they found that they were being successful against the KKK, they started expanding their breadth of what they would call a hate group. So Christian organizations, ministries, Dr. James Dobson, Dr. Ben Carson, they're put on hate lists. I'm on their hate list. Pacific Justice Institute's on their hate list. Other ministries, organizations, Dr. G. James Kennedy, they just started going crazy because they thought the more people we create as hate, the more justification we can have for people to send us money who trust us to fight them. So we did a video. We put it out. There's two of them out there. One of them's ours. One's put out by the Family Research Council. So there's two different ones. One of them is exposesplc.com, I believe. I believe the other one is splcexposed.com. So they're real close to each other. That was an accident, not deliberate. But I encourage them to look at both of those videos. And we orchestrated one of those two. We orchestrated in a way that really exposes what they are, their operation. It's not. It's an organization that's the most dangerous because it encourages hate, and that specifically is what encouraged people to be killed and shot by professing people who did it. They said, I saw Southern Poverty Law Center said this person was a hate group. That's why I went in and shot and killed or tried to shoot and kill. So I'm glad they're finally being shown for what they are. I was unaware of how dark they really were and paying money to promote the evil side, the KKK or some other group, so they could justify raising more money. That is insane. So hats off to President Donald Trump and the Department of Justice. They're just carrying out the law. The grand jury came out with thumbs up, prosecute them. And I think they're going to have their day in court, but I think they're going to be I don't think it's going to have a happy ending for them, and it shouldn't.
I just saw today the organizations that are sending them money. And it just like you just said, it's like, why? I mean, I don't want to sit here and name them. I could. I looked at every single one of them. Heck, I do business with about 3 or 4 of them. And we're spending money with these organizations that are doing that. Are those organizations that are sending the money, I think you just said it, they're being duped into believe they're doing the right thing. I heard about them sending the KKK to an event so that they could hate on that event.
Right.
They paid them to go there.
Right. It's a racket. The Southern Poverty Law, it's a racket. It's a business racket. It's worse than a business. They're trying to make money off of created evil. They're trying to create evil to create hate, to raise money. It's very dark. I believe in giving these businesses and organizations that have been supporting them some time to publicly announce that they're not supporting them anymore, to no longer to support them. We'll give them 30 days. And those who are still on record to support them, we need to expose them. And we need to let people say, do you want to do business with this entity right here that still has Southern Poverty Law Center being as one of their charities that they're supporting, or not? So I encourage businesses, if they've made that mistake, they were deceived, they were ignorant, naive, they thought they were fighting the KKK, they weren't aware that this organization, who they were, what they were doing, what they're about, give them a chance to pull that support and renounce Southern Poverty Law Center. If they don't, they're going to pay for it. And I have no problem on my radio show to call out all those entities and businesses after the 30 days that we're going to give for them to be withdrawn.
Yeah, it's breaking news for me today to see that. I hate to even talk about it's so much, but the Southern Poverty Law Center, it was I would believe, founded upon principles of fighting people that were in poverty or didn't have a U. And they were founded to help people. But they have been infiltrated, I believe, by people like George Soros.
Yeah.
And I hate to even bring that person's name up because he is the opposite of what this country is, the principles we found ourselves upon.
Yeah, and also the leadership of Southern Poverty Law Center, there's been accusations of sexual harassment, sexual abuse that's been purportedly out there, allegedly. Also racism. I mean, things that they're supposed to be fighting against, they even had reported and alleged to be happening in-house. So, it's an entity that I hope comes down crashing. They have tons of money that they've brought in from unsuspecting individuals. And I hope that money ends up going to something that's benevolent and doing something good. But we at Pacific Justice Institute, we have been battling them. They have us on their hate list, and we'll continue to battle entities like them that are deceiving the American people to do not good, but evil.
Yeah, and I mean, businesses, I'm a business owner. I have to protect myself now more than ever, especially here in California. I'm afraid every day, and a very dear friend of mine who just called me as we were sitting here is going through something where the government is coming after him because this government in California doesn't like his industry. And we need more organizations like you that are going to fight against this tyrannical government that I told you I'm a bail bondsman. They despise what I do. They just can't wrap their heads around the fact that I give people the constitutional right to bail out of jail and make sure they go to court so they're held accountable. And this isn't about me, but we need more and more people like you protecting businesses like us who are trying to conduct business, raise family, give people jobs. And is there organizations like that, or can people turn to you for their businesses when they're attacked by?
Yeah, when it deals with religious freedom issues and their religious convictions and having to be forced to compromise those, they should come to us right away. Right away. We've got 5 offices up and down the state of California alone. There's others that deal with property rights issues and economic issues and other kinds of things. And we can refer them to those if that's what their issues are really about. So California is doing terrible things in the workplace, but they're also doing hideous things in the public schools with regard to policies. And I want to touch on that if I can.
Go for
We
it.
still have time. So they have these mandates. They've had this mandate where they're saying that you can secretly groom a child, public school teachers secretly groom a child and be immune from being prosecuted and groom this child towards gender confusion or sexual orientation confusion. You can lie to parents about it. You can cover it up. Well, we're suing the state of New Jersey right now for mandating public school teachers to lie to parents and cover things up, and to against their conscience and convictions. Public school teachers that say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to promote confusion, much less confusion that increases the suicide rate by more than 400%. So you're not doing these kids a favor. You're increasing death to a child when you do this. So we're taking that on, but also in California, we've openly said if there's any parent out there who discovers any school, public school teacher or a school district that is hiding things from parents, doing things that violate their rights, they should contact us. Something else we also have is very powerful, and that is protecting parents' rights with regards to curriculum, outside speakers. California mandates that public schools push LGBTQ propaganda, and school districts by law can do it all the way down to the first grade. And we at PJI have developed a very powerful tool, and the Supreme Court last summer allowed us to make it even more powerful because of the Mahmoud versus Taylor decision. And it protects and allows parents who, for whatever reason, still have their children in public schools to be able to opt their child out of anything in any subject, art, history, math, whatever, that violates their personal morals or religious beliefs and convictions for their child. It's very, very powerful. Every family in America who has a child in public schools, and we encourage them to look at other options like church homeschool co-ops and other things like that, private schools. But if they still have a kid in public school, everyone should download this for free. It's on our website, pji.org. And it's opt-out forms, easy to download, and it gives great protection. Another thing California pushed on schools was the Pedophile Protection Act, that's what I call it, where a stranger can come in and pull a child from a school by just having their own little piece of paper saying, yeah, here's an affidavit I made up showing that the kid's parents are in prison or they've left the country, and here I'm an immediate relative. I live with a family, and so I'm here to pick up Johnny and Susie. And the law allows the school district, without even looking at the ID of the person, knowing where he's going to take the kids, just to give the kids right on over. Most school districts have not adopted any policies to add on to that protections. Most school districts say, okay, that's fine. The majority in California. So what we have on our website is a form that parents can fill out. And it says, at no time can my child be dismissed in cases of family emergency to anyone but the following individuals. Boom, 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 boom. And their ID must be reviewed and validated. If they file that, their children will be protected. If they don't, in most school districts, their children are sitting ducks to pedophiles and human traffickers and the like.
Oh, so you just said something a few minutes ago about the word lesbian. I have a friend, very dear friend of mine, who was explaining an event that occurred, and the kids giggled when he said, your wife, explaining the two people that were involved in the situation. And I think people can infer what I'm talking about. And the kids giggled and he said, well, she was a lesbian. He used that term to explain why they said there was two women that were wives. He got in trouble for using that word. Yet LGBTQ can be used all over schools.
L means lesbian.
Right.
And that's the term, that's what they use on the other side.
But I have friends that are lesbian. I have friends that are gays. I have friends that are transgender.
Right.
I don't care. They don't care who I am, and I don't care who they are.
You love them, respect them as individual human beings.
But to get in trouble for using that word because some kids said, no, we were offended by that use. That's what you're talking about and what you do. And I bless you for that, because teachers, and my daughter's a school teacher, and I'm afraid for her, because some of the things that they're being told they have to teach. She may not want to teach, and I'm afraid because she's a new teacher and she's got good principles and she just doesn't think these little kids need to know that.
Yeah, I will tell you, we give counsel to teachers all the time. And generally speaking, I encourage them to lay low until they get tenure. And once they get tenure, they have tremendous freedom and liberties. In the meantime, as things come up, they should contact us and get immediate free legal counsel. We don't charge for our work, and that's because of people who donate and support our work. Our donations are tax deductible. And we encourage people who do want to support our work to go to our website, pji.org. We don't get government grants with no big mega corporations out there. It's mom and dads, grandmas and grandpas, some churches. That's how we do our work, and we have a huge impact and the highest rating under charitynavigators.com. I'm just saying. So we really work hard, and we want people to contact us sooner rather than later.
So that's what I want to ask you. I mean, you my gosh, the network of people, the employees, everything. You're like the Shriners are supported. People don't understand about how Shriners hospitals and those places operate. So the fundraising, it's not fundraising. I don't see TV commercials for you.
No TV. We put all our resources into doing the work, and people see that, and that's why we have such a high efficiency rating. We put the money into the work that we're doing, which is helping people on a large scale, and those results speak very loud.
I know there's a segment of people that are going to watch this and listen to it. Like myself, my wife, and my mom and dad, I tune into the other side of the news stations when things happen because I want to know what they're thinking. I don't want to just keep my head in this tent. I want to know what they're thinking. I hope people have tuned in. I hope people have listened because I got to tell you, I have a lot of friends that are Democrats and they believe philosophically different than what I do. But I can't imagine any one of them would believe in anything that we just have talked about on this episode and our prior episode. You're doing the right thing. You're doing God's work. And as you said, the way you can do it all is through the power of God.
Yeah. And truth plus the love of Christ is very powerful. And in the end, truth wins. And we just have to step up to the plate and be faithful to what we've been given.
Well, God bless you, my friend. Thank you for joining us here at the Powerhouse Podcast. This has been a very emotional and I hope fulfilling a conversation we've had with Brad Dacus from the Pacific Justice Institute. So thank you again for joining us here on the Powerhouse Podcast. Hi, this is Topo Padilla, and I want to thank my family at Greg Padilla Bail Bonds for sponsoring the Powerhouse Podcast. We are always involved in the community. So if you ever find yourself in need of calling a bail bonds, you can call us at 446-BOND or find us at PadillaBailBonds.com. Sac Life TV and the Powerhouse Podcast want to thank Mosley Collins for his unwavering support of our podcast that keeps people informed. If you ever need legal help, call Mosley Collins Law at 444-4444. That's all fours for legal help. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Powerhouse Podcast, where we bring you fair and balanced discussions on the issues shaping our community. We welcome your input, opposing viewpoints, and guest recommendations because every voice matters. Have a topic or a guest in mind? Email us at php@saclife.tv.